I said salute to the untouchable True School Sports Empire.
That's
Taking
right, the
over
untouchable.
not only the South Florida boxing scene, but the worldwide boxing scene.
Well, it's personal between me and you, and I'm going to do you some serious harm, you big stiff idiot.
The untouchable True School Sports Empire proudly presents something the boxing game's been missing. Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Now, let's talk some good old 154, because I know a lot of people like to talk about 154. You know, the division where the undisputed champion's nickname is Mr. Keep Running Your Mouth, Jermell Charlo. Now, Tony Superbad Harrison, Detroit's very own, the former WBC champion. He was speaking recently, and there was an article on Boxing Scene right now where pretty much he was speaking about his rivalry with Jermell Charlo, which, by the way, I might add, is one of the best rivalries in boxing. It truthfully is. That's why I want Tony Harrison to continue to get his shit together, not mess around, stay active. I would like to see him just fight anybody. Fight Luis Arias, get some wins under your belt, build up some momentum. So you forced Jermell Charlo to have to make that third fight with you. Now, he was talking about Jermell Charlo, and I'm going to quote exactly what he said word for word. So here's what he said. I quote, "I still don't like that motherfucker to this day. He still don't like me to this day, but kudos to that man for breaking a barrier in history, but he's still a whole-ass nigga to me. But he's a good whole-ass nigga. He's a good fighter." And this is what Tony Harrison said. He then went on by saying, and I quote, "I don't want your belts. We can fight at a catch weight so you can keep all your belts, but I want to get it down with people. But for your people's standpoint and my people's standpoint, who's better between us two? I don't want to die like that. I don't want to die saying I'm even with you when I don't even like you and you don't like me when we can just fight again. I know you don't want to be tied up with me. I don't want to be tied up with you. Let's break the cycle." And you know what? I'm with Tony Harrison because I've said this myself. I've said this myself many times. Shout out to my boy Felipe. My boy Felipe. He doesn't like Tony Harrison. I love Tony Harrison, and he says that Tony Harrison didn't win the first fight. I think Tony Harrison did not win the first fight, and I want to see the third fight. But I'm also a realist, and the reality is this: Jermell Charlo is the undisputed champion, and he is the guy. He is the man, the creme de la creme, the king, sitting on the top. Right now, look. This is Jermell Charlo right now. He's in the 154 division right now. You know what he's doing? You know what he's doing right now? Jermell Charlo, he's sitting with the crown. He's like this. He's like your boy BT with the crown on his head. All right? He's the king of the division. And as king of the division, when you become the king, much like a king when he's at his castle and he's got a lot of queens, he has a lot of options with a lot of different women that are throwing themselves at him. Jermell Charlo, in a different way, has a lot of options with guys willing to throw themselves at him for an opportunity to fight him. You got Sebastian Fundora, you got the Tim Tszyu fight coming up, you got maybe the Erickson Lubin rematch if they want to revisit that. There's all kinds of options for Jermell Charlo. And my thing is this with Tony Harrison. He's coming off a great win against Sergio Garcia, but that was already like 4 or 5 months ago, 6 months ago, however long ago that was. He hasn't fought again since that fight, and from the sound of it, from the sound of some interviews I've watched, it doesn't sound like Tony Harrison is trying to build up any momentum towards, really forcing the issue. Because truthfully, right, he's talked a lot of trash about Luis Arias, but he's not. That's the fight I think he should be chasing just to stay busy, because he should be Arias, but then we don't know because he's inconsistent. Arias is inconsistent, so I think anybody can win that fight. But Tony Harrison, he pretty much said in an interview with the Boxing Voice Ring Walk Danny recently that he's just gonna sit back and wait for the call from Al and not try to make shit happen. And I feel like he should be really trying to put his foot down if he really wants that fight. And this isn't just hearsay. He should really be putting his foot down and trying to make this fight happen. You know what I'm saying? The second fight, I thought Tony Harrison was boxing one of the best performances of 2019. He really was in his bag. He was showing you the counter punching. He was beating up Jermell in the pocket. It was beautiful to watch the way Tony Harrison fought Jermell Charlo in the pocket. But then he made defensive lapses down the stretch, which is a little bit different because normally when Tony Harrison loses fights, he loses fights because of conditioning. He didn't lose that fight because of conditioning. He lost the fight because he made a defensive lapse and he got too comfortable. He got too cocky, all right? And that's what cost him the fight. And had he won that fight, the whole course of history would have changed. He would have been a multi-million-dollar fighter. He would have had a chance to really stick his flag in the ground and become the guy at 154 because Tony Harrison, he's from the city of Detroit, a city that's produced so many great champions. He would have been the franchise fighter that PBC could have built around in Detroit. A lot of things, man. He's the most skilled 154 pounder. He just, parts of his career was conditioning and lack of stamina towards the end. This fight, it was a mental thing. So, yeah, like for Tony Harrison, I think the task is simple. You got to get active as soon as possible. I would like to see Tony Harrison get one more fight before 2022, but the way he's talking, I don't see that in his future. I don't see him forcing the issue and trying to get that second fight in 2022 and getting another win under his belt. But that's what he should do. Fight like a Luis Arias, beat him like you should, and then try to like step up a little bit more after that. Fight maybe like a Erickson Lubin, maybe Julian Williams, someone like that. Because I know he always wanted to fight Julian Williams. So, but I would say Erickson Lubin. I would say Arias, and then a fight with Lubin. And if you can get past both of those guys, then I genuinely feel that Charlo would have to see Tony Harrison, and that would force the trilogy. Because to me, that's like one of the main fights I want to see, because the rivalry was real. It was one of the best promotions PBC has ever done and will ever do, because it was real, it was authentic, it was on free TV here in America. I mean, they did so many things right with that promotion, and I feel like, you know, the trilogy fight is a fight that should be revisited. But you can't revisit it if Tony Harrison doesn't start building up more momentum, because he's been an inconsistent ass fighter his last 3 fights. You know, he had a win against Sergio Garcia. Then he had a draw against Brian Perella in a fight that was a layup for him. And then I think before that, he fought Charlo and he lost. So he's been all over the place. He needs to get to consistency under his belt and force Charlo to make the fight and get people on his side by way of building up a lot of momentum. So somebody get this to Tony Harrison's team, because I don't think he gets it. I've been watching his interviews on the Boxing Voice. I don't think he quite understands what he needs to do to get that fight. You know, it's good to talk about it, and it makes for great quotes and great videos like this one, but you got to really, if you really want that fight, you got to really put your foot down and go for the gusto. So I'm going to leave it at that. You know, that's the news. Tony Harrison really wants that third fight with Jermell Charlo, and I want him to get it. And I'm telling him how I can get it. You're not going to get it fighting once a year. You're not going to get it sitting out the rest of 2022. You got to get active and get one more fight in before this year, and get another win under your belt, and start talking that shit. Because once Tony Harrison gets another win and people see that he's getting consistent wins against names and he's talking that shit and he's getting people excited, they're going to want to see Houston versus Detroit. They're going to want to see that. They're going to want to see the Rockets versus the Pistons, all right? So make it happen, Tony Harrison. I'm on your side. I'm a Tony Harrison fan. Yeah, leave your comments down below. Make sure y'all take the time to subscribe. And like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me. But I'm just a kid from Daniel. So until next time, take it, guys.
Thank you for watching True School Sports.
No, follow this kid.
Oh.
You know, he's a true, he's a young, true, passionate person who follows boxing. He wakes up thinking about boxing, and he goes to sleep thinking about boxing.
This is true.
Good kid, good man, and looking forward to seeing him everywhere in the boxing world.
Hey man, if you ain't subscribed to True School Sports, you fucking up, man. Make sure you subscribe, bro.
Fucking up big time.
Make sure, man.